Okay. Hey, friend. I hope you're having a great day. We are ready for lesson 2 on The Essential Oil Truth, The Facts Without the Hype by Jen O'Sullivan. It's a really good book. It breaks down everything into simple little lessons without it being overly confusing and without it being just completely overwhelming or anything. And we can just take it little pieces at a time. So today we're going to talk about the history of essential oils. So I'm going to read the little lesson and then we'll talk about it a little bit. The historical use of essential oils dates back to Egyptian hieroglyphics that were drawn over 5,000 years ago. Here are some fun facts about essential oils throughout history. 5000 BC, anthropological evidence found of aromatic plants used with olive and sesame oils to create ointments. 32 BC, Egyptians used resins such as frankincense and myrrh as part of their embalming process. Where am I? 3000 BC, the first primitive steel was discovered in 1975 in an Indus Valley civilization during the Bronze Age, which dates back to 3000 BC. Cannot talk. 1300 BC, King Tut's tomb contained alabaster jars filled with frankincense essential oil. In 400 BC, Hippocrates, a Greek physician, used essential oils in his treatments. 100 BC, there were reports of Rome consuming 2,800 tons of frankincense and 500 tons of myrrh per year. That's insane. In 1600 BC to 85 AD, the Old and New Testament has hundreds of references to the use of essential oils. 1340 AD, the bubonic plague was underway, and apothecaries, like our modern-day pharmacies, figured out how to rub their bodies with a recipe of essential oils in order to rob the dead of their belongings and not contact the deadly plague. Legend states that officials lessened their sentence of death if they gave them their recipe. That is where we get Thieves Essential Oil now from Young Living because of that story. 1910, Dr. Jean Gattefossé, a French chemist, severely burned his arm and used lavender as a last resort. To his surprise, his burns healed without any scarring. He went on to coin the term aromatherapy in the 1920s. 1964, Jean Balnet published The Practice of Aromatherapy, and he found long-term psychiatric patients were greatly helped after he administered essential oils. And in 1974, R. Dinger conducted a double-blind study on essential oils and the autonomic nervous system. He proved the effectiveness of essential oils in balancing the nervous system. So, as you can see, those are just a few little references to the history of essential oils. Now, as we were talking about yesterday about the PMS oils, so go back and watch day 1 of what are essential oils. And I think it's under, I can't remember, but it'll say day 1. Anyway, find day 1. And I'll try to go back and fix it to where it will make sense for you to know which one that you're looking at. But in day 1, we were talking about the PMS oils, what they do and what that means. And as you can see from some of the references that were given in today's historical references, some of the oils are great for psychiatric help and for your mental balance. When we are out of balance, everything can be affected. That is one thing. This book, Feelings Buried Alive Never Die, this is one of my most favorite books. My book is about Ratty because I have read it so many times and underlined and done tons of research with it and then researched from it to other things. And it is amazing how much our brain, our bodies hold on to so many things. And then because of what we hold on to, our anger, our resentment, even in our attitude towards losing weight, or I mean, anything that we are holding on to, that we, even if you're sitting there, like in the reference of losing weight, if you're sitting there just being so distraught with the fact that you really want to just totally, that you just feel like your body is ugly, and you feel too fat, and you don't like the way you look, all of those things, you're hoarding and emotionalizing with the wrong thing. And this is something that I have been learning a lot about. All of my life, I've heard people say, oh, you've got to have a positive attitude. You've got to think of things of a good way. And you know, you hear people say stuff like that, and you're kind of like, oh, good grief, don't be so positive. You know, like, you get tired of hearing that, the way that people talk about, you know, you've got to be positive. You got to be positive. And really and truly, we have to be. Like so many references in the Bible talk about having a joyful heart, having a good attitude, being able to love people no matter what, and having forgiveness in our heart. When we hold on, I've heard people say, if you are holding on to not forgiving someone, that you're the one that's being hurt more than the person who had offended you or had caused the problem to start with. That person is not in the place that they care. Like, they really don't care that they've hurt you. So you're actually causing more damage to yourself because you're holding on to this anger and not forgiving someone. I have a friend who, his daddy was like very mean to him, treated him horrible. And so this man, his whole entire life, was just very resentful of his daddy. He did not want to forgive his daddy for for abusing him so much and being so horrible. And so he would hold on to the anger and just be so just resentful all the time. Well, he couldn't move forward. This guy could not move forward in his life because it was always like there was always something that came up that made that feeling come back of how he felt about his father. Well, the dad didn't know. The guy had not talked to his daddy necessarily. I mean, I'm sure they had not talked in many years. The daddy knew that the guy was upset, but he just knew he was upset. I mean, didn't, I guess, care that he was upset necessarily. He was not trying to mend the situation or anything. Well, the guy finally, one day, he was listening to a speaker, and they were talking about forgiveness, and you really need, that you can't move forward if you're not being forgiving to someone else. So he felt this overwhelming conviction that he needed to talk to his dad, and he needed to forgive him. Even though it was something that he didn't really want to do, he felt like he needed to really have a more forgiving spirit so that he could move forward. And he said that he finally just started writing down things that he was grateful for about his father, and then finally talked to his dad and just said, you may not care, it may not matter to you, but I forgive you for the things that you've done. He said this huge weight was lifted off of him because he went through this process, and he was able to finally forgive him for the pain that he had caused. It wasn't for the daddy. It was not for his benefit, but it was for the guy's benefit. Because if he had just kept on going, this guy went on to make millions and millions of dollars because he decided to obey and just forgive. The Bible says for us to forgive 7 times 7 times 7, no matter what anybody's done to us. That's an extremely hard thing to have to take. It's a hard thing to have to do when you've been hurt so bad. But as we see that our bodies are made to be balanced, and through your unforgiveness, and when you're holding on to that unforgiveness, you're holding on to hatred and anger, those things are held up in your liver. They're held up in all of your different organs. in your joints, and you can't move forward, and you can't be able to move on with your life, because there's always going to be something that brings that thing back up in the end. So I want you to think about today that as you're going through your feelings, we're going to talk more about this as we get further into these lessons. But I want to leave you with this one thing, if I can find it. Let me see. I'm so sorry. We have to have, if we want to move forward, like I was saying earlier, we have to have a balance. And you can't be balanced if your mind and your heart are not aligned. The Bible says, James 1:8 says, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. You have to, in order for us to experience in life what we think we desire, the thinking and the feeling have to be in unison. If the feeling is not the same as the thinking, then we need to change the feeling so that it becomes the same as the thinking. Now, I know that sounds a little crazy, but when we look at it from a brain perspective, that's what I was trying to find. This is our brain. Now, get rid of all the garbage, all the cover-up, in order to tap into the real you. Mindfulness, mindful of thought, mindful of words, and identify feelings. Your left brain is your thinking brain. Your right brain is your feeling brain. Now, when a lot of times our thinking brain, we think, and we bring in all the stuff, everything's coming into our minds all the time, just pouring into our minds. That's our thinking brain. We think with that. That's where we start getting really emotional about the things that we are doing. Now, I didn't say feeling, but emotionalizing. We are bringing that, making it, internalizing that, whatever we're thinking about. So if we keep on thinking that we're angry at somebody and that we don't want to forgive them, we perceive how the conversation is going to go, that this other person is going to be angry, we're still angry, they don't like us, or whatever it may be, or they were always mean to me. We hold on to those things in our thinking brain. We emotionalize with it, so then it turns to our feeling brain, and it goes to the right side into our feeling brain, onto that feeling side. So by that point, then we have figured out that this was exactly the way the scenario was. This is exactly what happened. This is exactly what the person was saying. This is exactly the way they meant it. All of the things becomes part of who we are. In order for us to have a single mind, in order for anything, for us to be able to move forward at all, we have to have a single mind. We cannot be double-minded. If we're thinking and feeling two different things, then we can't move forward. If we're thinking this is the way this thing happened, and then we internalize it, it becomes a feeling so strong that we know that this is the way it is, we can't move forward. So we have to, that's one thing where the oils help so much, because of the frequency of the oils, and because there is so much life in the oils that bring us to a different level. It's able to come in and help us to basically step out of ourself and to begin to emotionalize and think through things in a little bit better way. I know that sounds crazy, but I do it all the time. Because when I start getting aggravated, and I mean, just like peace and calming relaxes you in 2 seconds and can bring you down off of a ledge really fast. So if I'm angry and I'm upset, and I've already internalized what's going on in my brain, I've already decided this is what this person said to me, I'm already upset about it. You can't change my mind about it, whatever. But then I know that I don't need to be angry. I know that I need to be relaxed. I know I don't need to be stressed. I know that's not good for my body. So I can rub peace and calming on wherever I want to rub it on. And my brain begins to break up all the crazy pieces. And it begins to become a little bit more single-minded. I can step back out of that spot and be able to go, okay, this is what happened. Can I look at this in a different way? Can I figure out, do I really have to be angry at them? Do I have to stay angry at them? And that's just one tiny piece of the oils and the beauty that comes with using our oils for an emotional side. Just like he was in the book, it was talking about seeing good things coming from the psychiatric side of using oils for psychiatric help. It's a huge, huge, huge positive direction whenever you're in that place. And it will help you to step back and to be able to go, okay, let me take a minute. Because I've had to be there so many times. So tomorrow we will be talking about, in lesson 3, from chemists, doctors, and aromatherapists. We will be talking about different things that they have found. It'll be a little bit more reading tomorrow, but I think it will be very helpful for us to look at it from a perspective of doctors and aromatherapists and what they have found through research of essential oils. So we will talk to you tomorrow, and I hope you have a wonderful, awesome day. Love you.